Welcome to the podcast. The Pirates go down to Tampa. I'm sitting here eating a plate of crow as we speak. I'm glad the Pirates proved me wrong. 44-24 winners tonight, and really we're up 44-17, and then USF got that late touchdown. But right now, some immediate reaction is Sutton Young. If you've been following us on social media, we had some pictures and so forth throughout the night. He's joined us live from Raymond James Stadium as they just turned the lights out on him, and also Kyle Barber. Guys, what do you think about the ball game?
I mean, really, from seeing it in person and then from watching last week's game, the number one thing that I saw was chemistry. The team played with so much chemistry tonight, and you could clearly see it throughout the game. We were executing plays really, really nicely. And that was something that, frankly, we weren't doing last week and we were not doing against UCF. So, I mean, that was my biggest thing was chemistry. And, frankly, we have speed. And that's something that it was hard to really see the first two games. We've got a lot of speed. And, I mean, of course, we've always been known to have great passing offenses. We've got some great backs, too. So I was really impressed with the offense tonight. And the defense stepped up, too.
Yeah, the offense looked a lot more like it did against UCF. I still think that we ain't hitting our stride just yet in the passing game. And I think that'll come. I mean, we made some great plays tonight in the passing game. CJ with a couple of nice catches, Snead with a couple of nice catches. Pro always count. And get some feedback from you guys. And you really got to wonder, looking back at that Georgia State game, besides it just being a chemistry thing and we just weren't executing and came out flat, and I got to kind of wonder. I don't want to start a conspiracy theory here, but I'm starting to wonder if those guys didn't intentionally not play the Charlotte game to have an extra week to prepare for us. Because it really seemed like Georgia State had game plan for us all year, if you look back at that game.
I agree with you. I'm putting the phone up to my ear because there's sirens all over the place. No, Georgia State, and I mean, I'll say this straight up, that was the biggest – playing us in that stadium was the biggest game they played in that stadium, and you know they were fired up, and they had a plan for that game for a long, long time, and they executed it. I mean – We failed in that game, and I think that was a big slap in the face. I mean, that was definitely one of those games. I mean, yes, you're going to lose games, but, I mean, I'm not nothing to Georgia State, but to lose to them in the fashion we did and the history we have in our program compared to them was embarrassing. So what we did tonight, it doesn't 100% convince me, yeah, we're getting there, but I'll tell you, it was definitely a step in the right direction.
Yeah, definitely. And for that much-needed victory to come over USF, a team that we were 1-9 against, that's extremely sweet. I mean, really, out of those 9 losses, I think maybe 3 had been competitive. They've really had our number, and this is one that I'm really relishing on going down to Tampa and defeating them soundly.
Yeah, this was. Go ahead, Kyle.
Go ahead, sir. All right, it's like you said, one win ever against the Bulls, and now it's 2. And both of them came in Raymond James. And, you know, the one we did get down in Tampa in 2014, you know, we had a really good team that year. They were just, run of the mill mediocre at best. And we took everything we could to come away with that. Was in dominant fashion. I don't care, if they're struggling or not. It was a huge win. And this is the first time we've beaten somebody in conference not named UConn, who's not in our conference anymore, since 2017?
2015.
No. We beat Cincinnati, but that was in 16 or 17.
So, yeah. In my report, no, you're right. In 2015, yeah, I did it as far as on the road. We haven't beaten a conference opponent on the road other than UConn since November 19th, 2015.
Yeah, but even at home, that Cincinnati win was in 16 or 17.
Yeah, we beat them in 17. That's right.
17, yeah. So we haven't, beaten anybody not named UConn since then. So huge win, and I don't know. This is something to research. When is the last time we won as a road underdog, guys? I could not tell you when, because if you look back at 15, our road wins, I think we were probably favored in them. 14, we were really good. Probably 2014 against Virginia Tech is the last time we won as a road underdog.
I'm thinking that too.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably right, just off the top of my head. And we talked about it, guys. We'll dive into this more tomorrow on the Pirate Football Playback, as we'll really dive inside the numbers and everything that took place tonight. But we had talked about it going in to the game on the Pirate Preview, just from the standpoint of getting Keaton Mitchell more touches, and we did that right off the bat. I think he carried the ball 6 or 7 times on the first possession where we went down and scored, and you could really see his impact on the game. Yes, I think only finished for maybe 40 or 45 yards, something like that, but his impact was much more than that. Had some very nice runs where he turned maybe a 2 or 3 yard loss into a 2 or 3 yard gain, and had some of the best 4 to 5, 6 yard carries that you would ever see. And Rajee Harris, what can you say about him? 125 or so on the ground, a couple touchdowns. Had the big 42-yarder where he showed the speed that he possesses in addition to that power. And then C.J. Johnson, not a huge night for the passing game, but it was a very efficient night for the most part. You did have some drops. I can think of one CJ and one by Blake, but CJ had right at 100 yards receiving and the 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, and if CJ hadn't had one of those drops, he'd probably had 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
But no, it was like I said, I think the passing game still needs a little work, but it was a big improvement. Running game was great tonight. I thought, you can tell a lot by what coaches say. And Donnie said we can run the ball, we can have a running game. And I kind of thought, and I mentioned that to you, Bubba, don't be surprised if we don't get our running game going this week. And we did. And did not expect to get it going to that level.
Good, real. No, I'm in an interview. So you're fine.
Getting checked by the security there?
Yeah.
Yeah. When you get out of the damn stadium. Sutton, how was the atmosphere there? Not very many people in Raymond James. Were you in the press box or were you all in the stands?
I was in the press box. I would say that there was about 20, 25 members. The only other person from East Carolina there was Jesse Halford, who does the practice filming for East Carolina. He was the only other EC representative in the media. And let me tell you something right now. It was obviously media rooms are supposed to be very, very quiet and not a lot of talking. It was pitch quiet tonight. Because, honestly, 2 things I'll take out of it. One, USF and their fans did not expect us to come in here and whoop them. I don't think the media did either. Frankly, I didn't. I thought we'd lose by 10, to be honest with you. And this is what I took out of the game too. And I'm not a person to say one team wants it more than the other, but I could tell tonight ECU wanted this one bad.
We did, and I watched USF, and they haven't figured out what they're going to be on offense yet. But I don't think their defense is bad. That's what was so impressive about the running game. And you go back and look at UCF, and you just scratch your head about the Georgia State game, because I think we do have a running game. We ran it against UCF, we ran it against South Florida, and again, you just have to wonder. Maybe Georgia State's awesome. Maybe they're going to run the damn table the rest of the way. Time will tell. But you just have to wonder what happened with the running game last week. And you know what? Guess who has the worst defense in America coming into today? I don't know how it was after today. Does anybody know?
I couldn't tell you right now. But
The Navy midshipman. The Navy midshipman has the worst defense in America. So that could be a shootout next week on the ground.
It's definitely.
Yeah,
There's no question because, of course they're going to bring their running attack. They're going to bring the triple option. I'm never going to look anybody in the face and say that Navy will be a low-scoring game. It doesn't matter how bad they were against BYU or whatever.
They beat Temple tonight. They beat Temple tonight to get their second win of the year. So they're actually 2-0 in conference.
Yeah, they're going to put points up. Like they always do against us. They're going to put points up. I think we're going to put more points up than we did last year against them, but they are certainly not going to go down in points. At least I don't think they will.
When you talk about Temple's rush defense, Navy's rush defense, Temple ran for like 160, 165 yards tonight, so it was better for Navy. That's Temple's first ball game. I really think that we'll build on tonight, and like you said, Kyle, it was a lot more like what we saw against UCF. I was looking at the numbers. That's what we finished with, 210 yards rushing, and that is the first time in the Coach Houston era that we topped 200 yards against an FBS opponent. We had run for something like 365 against Gardner Webb last year and about 280 against William and Mary. But the top performance we had a season ago against an FBS opponent was down at UCF, where we ran for a lot of yards, especially in the second half, and finished with 170. And that was the only time last year that we topped 150. So far and away the best game that we had, because a lot of these yards were much more meaningful than the ones last year down at UCF. So tremendous performance on the ground and a huge step in the right direction towards what we want to be as a football program.
Yeah, no doubt. It's something else to keep in mind. Florida is always a good area for talent, for recruiting. It's not as much of it. Well, there's just as much there as there's always been, but there's not as much to be had as there used to be because UCF, USF, FAU, FIU, etc. But anytime you can go down to Florida and get a win in Florida, that's good for recruiting.
No, I second that 100%. It looks good for the program. Program gets recognition, and it does help with recruiting. There's no doubt about it, because let me tell you, there are a lot of great states with football talent. Florida is at or near the top.
Yeah.
Sutton, any other takeaways on things that you maybe experienced, pre-game, in-game, or post-game about the atmosphere tonight, or things you wanted to maybe made note of to mention?
Honestly, I wish I could say I knew what an experience was from a previous USF game. But frankly, as much as I hate saying this, the crowd, they were getting blown out, but the students, they were just continuing on, having a good time. I don't even know if they were even looking at the score.
Hey, Kyle, what crowd does that sound like? Sorry to cut you off there, Sutton, for a moment, but Kyle, what crowd does that sound? Sounds
like our friends in Norfolk that ain't playing football this fall. Reminded me of the crowd at the ODU game last year. But I will say this about the South Florida student sections and fans: the females that were there, that they showed on camera, grade A. They got that at least going. They top notch.
They put a lot of them up there.
Yes, indeed they did.
Video board quite a bit.
Yeah, man, the ESPN crew did a great job too, shooting the ladies. Anything else? Are we gonna wrap it up?
Speaking of the ESPN crew, though, Kyle, the camera work was so good last year at Old Dominion, so that's good that you made that comparison between the camera work at Old Dominion and USF as well.
Better tonight, but still not like a network game. The ESPN Plus coverage was much better tonight, but not like a network game. They missed a few things on the field, and I thought the announcers were okay. The analyst, Stretch Armstrong or Stanford Stud or whatever his name was. What was his name, Bubba?
I don't know. I was trying to figure it out myself. Yeah,
Stanford Cardinal or something like
Stanford Steve.
Stanford, yeah, I don't. Stanford Steve, yeah, I don't know. He was a bit annoying at times, but play-by-play guy was pretty good.
Yeah, like you're saying, the color analyst. Not that I could do any better by any stretch of the imagination, but he definitely at times left something to be desired. But
He played in the damn league. I mean,
yeah,
I still ain't figured out what his name is. Stanford. I swear to God, his first name was Stanford.
yeah. But anybody that watched the game knows what we're talking about. But
No,
he certainly knows Jay Sunhalter. We'll put it that way.
that's right.
We'll get a shout out for Jay in, but no, Sutton, we've appreciated your coverage all day. We'll go ahead and wrap this up because, like I said, we'll have the Pirate Football playback right here on Facebook Live as well as YouTube.
Tomorrow. You get locked in the stadium.
Yeah, Sutton,
I'm sorry.
You get locked in the stadium, Sutton.
No, I was able to get out. I honestly.
Oh, you're out. You're out of the stadium. All right, good deal. Good deal. I was concerned. I was concerned they were going to lock you in Raymond James.
Well, you know what? There are a lot worse places. But I'm honestly thinking right now, we did so well with me there. Do I need to book a ticket to Tulsa and Philadelphia?
I was thinking the same thing, Sutton, that I was going to have to come up here to Boone every weekend. I guess if we come up to if I'm in Boone, I guess the Pirates will play like App State does in the Sun Belt.
Yeah, let's do it.
But no, Sutton, I know you're flying back to Greenville tomorrow. What you're leaving Tampa about 5:00?
Yeah, I'm leaving Tampa about 5 o'clock.
There's no flight in or out of Greenville.
Well, I'm sorry. You're flying back to North Carolina. So he's flying back to RDU tomorrow.
Yep, I fly back to RDU. My flight leaves at 5, and I touch down at 7 something. So it's about 2.5 hour flight, and it only took me about an hour and 20 minutes to get to the airport. So no biggie.
No.
Okay.
Smooth drive.
Depending on when we do our show tomorrow, we'd love to have you join us and to go into a little more detail over what we saw tonight. But we appreciate everything you've done with your coverage today, and enjoy the rest of your trip. And it's always nice to take in a Pirate victory, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Yes, sir. Pan of purple.
Absolutely. All right, Bubba.
So
are you gonna celebrate with a cup of warm milk and go back to bed?
Yeah, that's what now I'm right there on the verge of 40, so apparently that's past my bedtime. I don't know. I couldn't believe it when I dozed off, but it's always great to wake up and see that the Pirates were up 4 touchdowns. So, and I guess I want to say it was 30, maybe. I'm trying to remember the flow of the game, what the score was. I don't know if it was 37-17 when I went to sleep, something like that. But nonetheless, hey, I'm glad to be eating the crow that I'm eating right now, because I really doubted. Even if we were victorious tonight, I definitely didn't expect it to be 44 points on the board, and with them all being offensive points at that.
Hey, good point. And I called it on defense. I said we were going to hold them to 17, and for all intents and purposes, we did. The score was garbage. But so I at least got that part right, not counting the late score. But I'm all right. I said we scored 23. We scored a lot more than 23. Did not expect us to break 40 points. It's been in fact, I don't even remember the last time we did break 40. Well, yeah, last year against SMU in the loss. But anyway, Bubba, it was good to get the offense going. Defense played well. Special teams did what they needed to do. Whether Verity make 2 out of 3 field goals, and then had a couple of nice kickoff and punt returns during the game. And they tried to get us with an onside kick, and that didn't work for them. So special teams is still grading out every week pretty high. Yeah,
congratulations to Jake Verity. 3 out of 4 tonight. Also converted all 5 extra points, and he is now, I believe, East Carolina's all-time leading scorer, because they were talking about in the post-game Zoom. And speaking of the post-game Zoom with Coach Mike Houston, as well as 4 players, I'm trying to remember right off the top of my head. Talked to Holt Nailers, Jake Verity, Aaron Ramsor, and then also Raji Harris. So
Ramsor played well tonight.
yeah, really look forward to rewatching that myself because I was kind of communicating with you guys while that was going on. So I heard bits and pieces, but not everything that Coach Houston and those guys were saying. So we'll have that for you right here on Facebook and our YouTube channel. But if you don't have anything else, Kyle, we'll go ahead and put this brief post game to bed. And I'm sure you may be like me and tune in a little bit at the fifth quarter and hear what Coach Smith and those guys had to say. I'm looking forward to hearing his thoughts on tonight, especially the defense's performance, obviously. But for Kyle Barber, I'm Bubba Rosenbaum, and we'll visit with you tomorrow night on the Basketball Playback right here on the Sports Objective. Have a great night, everybody.